concerts in the Courtyard series, though we're inside because I cannot take a piano outside and keep it tuned. And also this is a multimedia performance. This series is overseen and funded by the Middlesex County Cultural Arts Fund through the Middlesex County government. This special performance is supported by the East Brunswick Friends of the Library. So thank them for supporting all of the programs and things we do here at EBPL. And without further ado, I'm introducing Dr. Timothy Urban.
Thank you very much, Melissa. For our Chinese-speaking audience here, 下午好，谢谢大家来听我们的音乐会。So thank you all for coming today. We hope you enjoy this performance. Melissa mentioned this is multimedia. There are poems that will be recited, songs that will be sung, and instrumental music that will be played. On the screen, for all of the poems and for the songs, at the beginning, there will be both Chinese and English words, so hopefully you'll have time to read the translations to understand what the songs are about. But mostly, it's just about enjoying the music. Chinese has a music inherent in its pronunciation and its speaking, and we're very fortunate to have Dr. Shunju Wang from Rider University who will be reciting the poetry, and you'll hear the beauty, the poetry in the language itself. And I would also like to thank Xiaoling Liu, who lives very close to here, for joining us to play the Chinese fiddle, Erhu, and my colleague Fang-Ting Liu from Westminster Conservatory, who also has ties to the East Brunswick community, is our pianist. My wife and I lived in East Brunswick for many years before we moved. So when I moved to New Jersey, East Brunswick was the first place I lived for, I think, 10 years. So this is all very much home territory to all of us. So again, it's nice to see such a wonderful turnout. Our program will begin with an instrumental piece played on a Chinese folk instrument called a hulusi, sometimes called a gourd flute. It's a reed instrument, reed similar to what you find in a harmonica or an accordion. Chinese music, you'll find, has a unique sound because it's based on a pentatonic music scale, 5 notes. Do, re, mi, sol, la, sol, mi, re, do. Or if it's minor, la, do, re, mi, sol, la, sol, mi, do, la, sol, la. So it has a very unique sound that blends and fits perfectly with the Chinese language. So we hope you enjoy. This first song is Phoenix Bamboo Under the Moonlight.
I'm going to read a poem of early town by the poet named Soochow. First, I would like to say a few words about the poem. Now, this early town poem is about one of the 4 great towers of China, the Yellow Crane Tower, in what is now Wuhan in Hubei province. Located on the top of Snake Mountain, the tower provides a bird's eye view of breathtakingly beautiful surroundings and the well-known Yangtze River. There are a number of popular legends regarding this Yellow Crane Tower, one of which is alluded to in the poem I'm going to read. And it says about a man named Wang Zi'an, who after long years of meditation became a Taoist immortal, a Xian immortal in Chinese, and is carried off into the heavens riding on the yellow crane. So later, a tower was built in commemoration of the story, and the tower became a sacred site for Taoists as well as scholars and poets who came here to visit and for inspiration. Many poems have been written about the Yellow Crane Tower, but this poem has always been cited as one of the best, including well-known town poet Diez, perhaps some of you may know, consider this to be a masterpiece of nostalgia for ancient times. It is said that Li Bei once wrote a couplet when he came to visit the tower, admiring both the tower and the building itself and the poem. And he says something like this: "Before my eyes lies scenery I can hardly describe, and yet above it, Soochow has already penned his masterwork." Meaning, this is a masterpiece that I can not possibly surpass. I want to say one more word here. Perhaps what Li Bei recognized in this poem is what I would call a cosmos consciousness. The notion, a sense of awe for the boundless and timeless of the universe. A recognition of the transient nature of human existence. The question who we really are, where do we belong to, where do we fit in this cosmos? So, without further ado, I'm going to read this poem. 黄鹤楼，崔颢。昔人已乘黄鹤去，此地空余黄鹤楼。黄鹤一去不复返，白云千载空悠悠。晴川历历汉阳树，芳草萋萋鹦鹉洲。日暮乡关何处在？烟波江上使人愁。
Poems and songs. The slideshow also is a mixture of paintings, Chinese paintings that depict either the specific scenery or similar scenery that is discussed in the poem, as well as photographs of the landscape as it looks now. So you'll see a mixture of traditional Chinese paintings as well as photographs of the Chinese landscape, all to highlight the beauty of the Chinese landscape which the poems and the music are depicting. Many of these poems are really quite famous in China, and young people in China and other Chinese-speaking countries often are asked to memorize and study these poems in school. So I'm hoping that some of you out there recognize these poems from your younger years.
Yeah. 高处不胜寒，高处不胜寒。
Good afternoon. My name is Fang-Ting Liu. This is erhu. Erhu is a traditional Chinese instrument. It's very popular. It's over 1,000 years old from Tang Dynasty. So today I'm going to play some erhu solo. The first one will be the tea leaf harvest dance. Actually, this express Zhejiang, Eastern China. People just picking the tea leaves. They're very happy. Okay, so this is from folk song from Zhejiang province. Thank you.
留住芳华。我是天空里的一片云，偶尔投影在你的波心，你不必压抑，可我喜欢喜，在这群间消灭。
Considered father of idyllic poetry, or the poetry of fields in a garden, as we say in Chinese. Scholars and critics often cite his poems as shining examples in this regard. They all agree that Tao is one of the greatest poets in the literary history of China. However, they differ greatly as to what kind of person Tao really is, and why he is a great poet. Some people believe that he is a Taoist hermit who is not interested at all in politics and officialdom. Others regard him as an unfulfilled Confucian scholar, who, by Confucian scholar, we mean that you want to engage in politics, contribute your own talents to the service of the people and the country. So he cannot really forget about politics and officialdom. And his gesture in the poem about seclusion is a means of fishing for fame. This debate has been going on for over 1,000 years, and modern scholars still fight with each other over this issue as heatedly as ever before. Zhu Guangqian, one of the early critics, argued that Tao Qian is great because serenity is in his entire person. He is the embodiment of serenity. Lu Xun does not agree, saying that Tao is great precisely because serenity is not in his entire person. So now, which side are you on? My take is that try not to take side, just enjoy the poem for its own sake. He is both. He is one does not negate the fact that he can be the other. Okay, so now the poem itself. 归田园居，陶渊明。少无世俗韵，性本爱丘山。误落尘网中，一去30年。羁鸟恋旧林，池鱼思故渊。开荒南野际，守拙归园田。方宅10余亩，草屋8、9间。余留因后檐，桃李落堂前。哀哀远人村，依依墟里烟。那狗吠声巷中，鸡鸣桑树间。户庭无杂尘，虚室有余闲。就在樊笼里，复得返自然。The next poem is 赤壁怀古, Memories of Past at Redcliffe. This is a lyric poem, 词, with lines of irregular length by Su Shi from Song Dynasty. The poem vividly recreates a well-known epic naval battle during the earlier Three Kingdom period. It highlights the natural scenery that is as beautiful as painting, the stunning beauty whose name is Xiaoqiao, and particularly her husband, the handsome, young, and accomplished general and frontline commander of Wu Kingdom, whose name is Zhou Yu, referred to as Gongjing in the poem. In this poem, Su Shi's admiration for this historical hero is immediately followed by his laugh at himself, who has not accomplished anything great, but whose hair is already turning gray. With this transcendental moon that crosses vast time-space, the poet makes us all feel a profound sense of loss and melancholy. I'm trying to recite the poem in Peking opera style to better match the sentiment expressed in the poem. And therefore the pronunciation of some of the words may be different from the standard or Mandarin Chinese. Just a little. 赤壁怀古，苏轼。大江东去，浪淘尽，千古风流人物。故垒西边，人道是三国周郎赤壁。乱石穿空，惊涛拍岸，卷起千堆雪。江山如画，已是多少豪杰。遥想公瑾当年，小巧出家了，兄子银发。羽扇纶巾，谈笑间，樯橹灰飞烟灭。故国神游，多情应笑我，早生华发。人生如梦，一尊还酹江月。
And accomplished much in his life. I personally am deeply grateful to him because he is supposedly the creator of one of my favorite dishes, Dong Guo Rou. So if you're a meat lover as I am, we are thankful to Soochow for being a foodie.
is Drinking Alone Under the Moon by Diez. And Diez, of course, is my favorite poet and perhaps the most recognized and translated Chinese poet. He is free-spirited and spontaneous, particularly fond of two things: wine and the moon. It is said that he died while drunk, trying to scoop the image of the moon out of the river. From his poems, people conclude that he loves drinking and having a good time, which is true. But we should also note that this merrymaking, laughing, singing, and dancing might be a mask. And behind this mask, there is in fact a lonely soul longing for real understanding and recognition, as we can clearly see from this poem. At the same time, along with this sense of loneliness on this planet Earth, is what I mentioned earlier, a cosmic consciousness, a longing for total freedom from this mundane world, from this planet Earth, a longing for dialogue with the universe. This is why you will see the poet invite the moon to drink and make rendezvous with the moon beyond the Milky Way. Now here's a poem. 月下独酌，李白。花间一壶酒，独酌无相亲。举杯邀明月，对影成三人。月既不解饮，因徒随我身。暂伴月将盈，行乐须及春。我歌月徘徊，我舞影零乱。醒时同交欢，最后各分散。永结无情游，相期邈云汉。永结无情游，相期邈云汉。
To offer you today, it is a poem about bidding farewell to a friend who is leaving and going beyond the westernmost point of China, beyond this famous Yangguan, the gate to the west. The last slide, in fact, is a picture of the poet for this Wang Wei, who is looking out beyond that furthermost point. you all so much for coming, and we hope that you enjoyed this beautiful music, beautiful poetry, and beautiful scenery and paintings as well. Thank you very much.
他有个长帽子，那个不能应该打的。 Well, this is, I think,
guess I could find the landscape paintings that I had to work with. So I worked on it like, you know, no, but you are interested in painting.
So I grew up with books.
Oh, well done, absolutely. I'm so happy you enjoyed it.
He's very Chinese. I'm very American. Yes, he was born in Shanghai, raised in Hong Kong. This way. Yeah, this is Tom. Because I did he met Maggie and we used to for masters. And then he went to Taiwan. So she's that Taiwanese, right? And I just went to like
Everybody can do it.
you can take a picture.
不是西洋乐的，但是这是美式的乐。
对，但我这个信徒是人对啊，对吧？
这个能拍吗？这个能拍吗？我要退回乐。哦，你们要对，我也是一直在200。
因为这个很难。
这个没事
对呀，你要给他拍吗？
对，我看看。这应该这样也可以的。
懂一点的，这个懂得理解的要唱什么东西，连这一可能他就不知道。对他的这个尝试，是。
Actually, I'm neighbors with Dr.
Yeah.
你要用你的相机吧？你要
对，他可以给我按一下。
来，我
对，那个闪光灯是亮的吧？哦，是眼亮，你只要按一下就行。Okay. Yeah.
Who we looking at?
可以，他的可以。
Yeah.
我拍到了全身，没拍全身。
Yeah, okay.
我给他弄小点的。
Yeah.
哎，你这个怎么弄的？他这个机子我还不会用。他这个机子，他这个。
Oh. That's okay. It's still under warranty.
Good boy, this is good.
I got some.
Yeah.
It's not set to the right setting. You have to reset it. That's already set.
It's okay, then we'll just
Yeah.
get it.
Yeah, it's better to get that.
Oh, this chair, okay.
对，刚好挡到那个。
可以吧？可以。Yeah, full body. Sorry.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I'll report your money.